I'm Ray Mofield, and today we're visiting at 418 West 12th Street in Benton, the home of Mr. and Mrs. J.F. Bowerman.
That's right.
He's known usually to most people by J.F. That full name, I understand, is James Franklin. Maybe he was named for Benjamin Franklin. Some say the greatest American. It's very fine that you've allowed me to come, Mr. Bowerman, you and your wife. I'm going to try to talk to both of you a little bit. Where were you born?
Her. It's born in Benton, Kentucky.
Born in Benton, Kentucky. Okay, so you're a native of Marshall County.
Yes.
And about how long ago was that, Mr. Bowerman?
Well, I'm 90 years old.
90 years old. Well, you've certainly beat the 10 of the Bible, haven't you? And you look very good, and he's laughing now. He's, other than a little problem with his hearing, I guess you still feel pretty well.
Hearing with my hearing is my worst trouble.
Uh-huh.
I have had rheumatism till I couldn't walk more than an hour-old baby.
Well, now that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that.
And grown, and let's see. Yes, since I was married.
And I believe your wife said you had a pacemaker also to keep your heart beating just right.
Right, sorry,
It's marvelous what people have come up with to help us live longer, isn't it?
That's the second one.
I see.
But in my
Oh, what is your dad's name?
Well,
And your mother? Who was she?
Betty,
Do you remember?
his mother,
Yeah.
was a McBride.
A McBride. All right, Betty McBride. So we had the McBride and the Bowerman families united there. Did they have more children than just you?
Oh, yeah. Both of his brothers. They had two boys. There's three boys.
Mm-hmm.
Clint, Noah, and James.
Clint, Noah, and James.
And sister,
Uh-huh.
Emma.
Mm-hmm.
A baby.
All right.
Boy, I put.
Very good, very good. Now, did your dad live on a farm, or?
Lived on a farm.
Most people in that generation made a living by farming.
Yeah.
And I guess you had to help work.
Yes.
What do you remember what you started out doing first?
On the farm.
Yeah, dropping tobacco plants maybe?
Yeah, tobacco.
That was my first job, dropping plants.
Yeah. Yeah, there was grass, tobacco, and sorghum. There was sorghum crop every year. My dad had to have a sorghum crop. He had to think he had to have some molasses every year.
Well, now, you know, that wasn't a bad idea. With money scarce and sugar expensive, sorghum played a role, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I imagine your mother could make hot biscuits.
Yeah.
And we had
Cornbread,
butter
and that.
and good molasses.
I want to tell you about a cornbread.
Good.
One time my mother was sick, and a close neighbor, Ed Barker, you might know him.
I've heard of Mr. Barker, yes, sir.
Ed Barker, he lived right up the road, just the first house up the road, and run a store and peddling wagon dog, and every once in a while he'd come down, my dad, and talk.
Mm-hmm.
One morning, it was winter time, one morning he'd come down there and come in, it was about 9 o'clock, and sit there, talk, and he and my dad. And I would have him do all the cooking. And I said, I wish you'd go home for dinner. For dinner. The only reason is I had to do the cooking.
Uh-huh.
But he sat right there till got dinner ready, and my dad, I told my dad, I said, Dad, dinner's ready. Red, you want to wash your hands?
So, he ate with you.
And he said, yeah. But guess what? He washed his hands, he done, and I had cornbread, you know. Back then, that's been several years back.
Yeah.
Back then, they didn't have biscuits 3 times a day. It was cornbread twice a day anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
And I had cornbread, and Ed just started eating and said, that's good cornbread. He just kept on bragging about it. He said, "No, I'm not lying or joking." He says, "That's the best cornbread we will ever eat."
Mm-hmm.
And
You don't reckon you could bake us some bread right now, do you?
so what?
Could you bake us some cornbread now?
Oh, no, I wouldn't try. No, I wouldn't
No,
try.
you don't make cornbread, you don't cook at all.
I had to stay in the house from, it was 3 boys, and to just take a week at a time, helping my mother one step, the mother cook and whatever, and then the next week's another. Just,
Where did you get the meal, Mr. Bowerman?
where did you get the meal?
Meal, yeah.
Oh,
They laid corn and ground it, that's
they take corn and then grind it.
There was a mill close by.
Yeah,
And you
scale.
got- At scale.
Yeah,
So you grind your own corn that you grown on the farm, and
yeah.
so you produced your own meal right there.
found their own sorghum, made my life.
Well, that's one change in life. We get meal now, we have to go to the store and buy it. Yeah. All right.
I will forget, told about that cornbread now. Ed, he kept us told about that being such good cornbread, and all, and he went home, and he told his wife about it, and he made her, she come down to my house, or my dad's the next day morning, and just say, "I made that bread."
Mhm.
Said Ed said that's the best cornbread he ever eaten in his life.
He wanted the recipe.
And he wanted me to show her how
Yeah.
to make cornbread.
That's good. Now, you started the school, I suppose, about 6 years old. Was the one-room country school?
Oh, I don't, yeah, I tell you what, I didn't get to go to school like a lot of kids. I don't know why. My dad is like a lot of people. A lot of people kept the kids out of school to have backup patch and everything.
Let 'em to work.
Mm-hmm.
These kids couldn't go to school till the crops were all dead and they this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of them. I didn't get to go to school like I ought to.
You happen to remember any teacher you ever had? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Early Johnson was one of them.
Early Johnson.
Early Johnson and,
Walter Peck,
yeah,
And I remember Mr. Walter.
you did. Yeah, he was a nice man.
Yes, sir.
Well, I won't.
What did you do at school that was funny? Did you play any ball games or?
Yeah, let's see. Well, we played a little ball, nothing much. Let me see, there's something I was trying to think of it that I'd done at school one time, but what is it?
Did you ever go to say a pie supper on Saturday night at a school, or Friday night maybe?
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Box suppers, and kind of wink at the girls,
yeah.
give a dime for a pie maybe.
Yeah, that's right.
And Aunt Liz Peck, I guess you've heard of her, maybe.
Yes, I have.
One night, I went up the road, I just roam around. The night I'd get lonesome, I wouldn't sit in the house all the time like other boys. And I met Aunt Lizzie, and she was making candy.
Mhm.
And she said, just sit down there and wait, well, it won't be long, I'll have some candy, you have some candy.
Mhm.
Now, I waited, she got a bunch of candy made, and I ate all the candy, wouldn't it? I'll never forget that.
Those are pleasant memories. Well, eventually you grew up, and I noticed a picture here showing you as a soldier in World War I. Now, where did you go to train?
Where's that picture?
Oh, it's in under a desk.
Let me get that picture.
Well, but maybe your daughter can get it for you.
Annie! Bring me that picture.
Have you got time to get that picture?
Oh yeah, we'll take
Oh,
time.
that's the one here's what he saw. Here's what you want.
Now, ain't that fun looking too?
Oh, I'll tell you, here's a handsome young man. Got his rifle.
Oh, my boss. Hey, that's what the boss told me.
Present arms. Now, where is this barracks that you trained? Was that Camp Taylor at Louisville?
Oh, yeah. I'm telling Louisville, Kentucky. That's where Louisville about all of our training.
I knew a lot of the men went there, and I just supposed that might be.
Yeah.
Well, you're certainly a handsome-looking fellow with that Sam Brown belt and...
Well, I tell you, I'm not a bird, but I made it. Oh, I didn't know what I was going to make it now, but I made it all right. And
Did you have to go overseas?
oh, yeah, I was in a battle.
Well, now, you were in France?
Germany.
Germany.
France and Germany. I said, Italy, France, and Germany.
All three countries. Do you remember, were you in a battle sometime?
I was in a battle, that's right.
It was the last battle that fought. Argonne.
The Argonne Forest.
Yeah.
Those were terrible times, and you were lucky to come home.
Hey,
I
you
guess.
them German people. I've heard people say, oh, them Germans.
That's all right.
But them the best people I've ever been around yet.
Mhm.
There wasn't many men, they was all done killed in the war. Most of just women and boys and girls.
Mhm.
I stayed, me and the
But he didn't talk about war, he just keep on. Wait a minute, he's asking you questions.
That's all right. You go right ahead.
we first went over there.
Were you married when you went into the Army? Okay, we'll come to that later. You just tell us about some of the things that happened in the war, if you'd like to.
Well,
You tell some right funny things sometimes. Happened.
I had a, one morning, one evening, apprentice boy come around and says, hey, Red, the captain will see you. I didn't wonder what's wrong now. One of the things, say, we're going to send you on a trip tomorrow. Going to send you up the Rhine River. He said, it's going to cost you 1 penny. And all you can eat, apples and oranges and bananas and all you eat for dinner and after dinner.
Say, for a Marshall County boy, that's pretty good stuff, wasn't it?
And had 3 fellas sing, and a fellow tell, the sled knew all about the Rhine River on the east side of all the way our trip. We left this morning at 6 o'clock and that evening, just a little less 6, we got back. And that was a long trip. It was a wonderful trip.
And just sort of a tourist, sightseeing tour. Yeah. Well, very good. I'm going to get over here and say a few words to your wife. I want to know how he met you.
Well, me and some girls went to a ball game in Delaware, you know, and we sat in the car, and him and another boy come to the car and talking to us. That's what I noticed. And I went home with that girl, and she lived over here.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived, over at Goodstown, I believe they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought me home, and my girlfriend lived over here. And I come home with her, and that's the first time I was with him.
Mm-hmm.
And went to going together, and been together ever since.
Yeah. You fell in love.
Yeah, fell in love and was married about a year after we met.
Do you have, what was your mother and dad's name?
Oh, my dad's name is Joe Scott Minner. You ever hear of him?
Joe Scott Minner, yes.
And my mother's name was Goji Store. They call her Goji, but her real name was Indiana Highway.
Yeah.
And she had a sister named Louisiana Oregon. You ever heard of such name?
Well, I have, yes. They used to name people after states quite a bit, didn't they?
And there's where I met him. And, well, we just went going together, and we went together about a year, and then we married, Paducah.
I know Dr. Rainey Wells, who founded Murray State University. His wife was named Tennessee.
Huh?
I said Dr. Wells's wife was named Tennessee.
Yeah, there are a lot of names like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I knew a lady at Hardin
Been
once.
married 64 years.
64. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Do you have any children?
Yeah, I've got a boy and 2 boys and her, Velda Washburn.
All right. And does Velda
And they live in, one lives in Charleston, Illinois, one lives in Central Illinois, where we come from.
Now, you left Marshall County about when?
Oh, first time we went to Illinois in 1923. Velda was 5 weeks old. And we stayed there a while, and he got a job. We went with my brother-in-law at Kilvester, who was her husband. That was my sister. She was winter too. And then he got a job at IC shops. Went working pretty good, and then he got cut off, laid off. We moved back here. Got cut off at the Q shop, and then went right down past you. Yeah, I said, hey, you got a job at the Q shop, and then you got cut off. And we moved back up there. And then he got cut off again and moved back here. And he cut off 2 or 3 times, and the last time was 1940, or World War II. And we moved back out there. And Hurley, he was nearly 18. And he become 18, he went in the Marines. And then we lived out there ever since. So we moved back here.
When did you move back to Benton?
Well, when I Velda, January the 10th, wasn't it? 1986, 85, 86. 86. We just been lived here a year now.
So you're back to your old stomping grounds.
Stomping ground.
Yeah. Let me ask you about where you went to school.
Okay. I went to the winter school.
Oh, was it named after you?
Well, it's named after my daddy. For his daddy let him have the ground to put the schoolhouse up. And they'll call it now South Marshall, ain't it, or something that way. It used to go by the name of winter school. And they call it, I think, South Marshall.
So it was in that part of the
Well, that's in
county.
that. And I went there, and I went to the 8th to the 8th grade, and I never went to high school. Didn't know I was going to high school. And
Do you remember any of your teachers?
no, none of my sisters, nothing. And my oldest sister, she got ready to go to Bowling Green, but she decided she didn't want to go, and she didn't go.
Yeah.
My daddy tried to get her to go ahead, but she didn't go. And that's high as they all got. And all those got to the 9th grade. And
Well-
about then, kids had to work.
Well, tell us what you remember first having a job. Did you drop tobacco plants too?
Well, I set out tobacco. And,
Didn't that peg blister your hand? Didn't the peg blister your hand?
well, and I never did when I was carrying the baby or anything. I would let me work out then. But before I did, I worked on the farm. Hoed tobacco, corn, all. When I was carrying my children, he wouldn't let me work.
Well, that might have been a good idea.
Yeah.
Tell us about what the women did, let's say, to pass the time in the winter. Did you ever quilt any?
Yeah, I used to quilt, but after I got along in ages, after I moved to Central, I quit. So my quilting frames, I had all my quilts in. And I never did quilt much then. My daughter, she's a quilter.
Yeah.
She really quilts and pretty quilts. But I never did have that in my mind much. My mother tried to get me to quilt. And we'd all get around the quilts, I had 3 sisters and myself. We get around the quilts and all of them quilt wood. I'd make a long speech, and she'd say something about it, and I'd get up and leave.
Made you angry.
That made me mad.
Yeah. Well, did you keep chickens?
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of chickens. You mean my mother?
You, your mother, both?
Yeah, we raised a lot of chickens. She was married. But my mother, she always had lots of chickens. All colors and kinds. No barn dogs, she's on no leghorns and...
I remember those leghorns could fly like a bird, couldn't they?
And all kinds of chickens. We raised guineas, turkeys. My mother raised turkeys. We lived kind of back off the road in a wood place. We had a place back there for them turkeys to play in, and she had a lot of turkeys.
Yeah.
And if even them guineas to go to hollering and them turkeys are squalling, now the evening is over.
Yeah, they make a lot of noise.
Yeah. She had ducks, geese, and his folks did too. She raised geese and everything else. Sheep.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever get chiggers?
Huh?
Did you ever get any chiggers?
Oh,
Things like
yeah, a lot
that?
of chickens.
Yeah.
Oh, I love to play with them. When I married, I got me a bunch of hens, raised chickens, and I'd get out there and play with them. And little rooster, he come running me one day, and I had a bunch of little chickens, and I had one or two in my hand, and he stuck me right in the leg that time. Ooh, spurred me.
Yeah. Wow.
And the blood just flew. And my oldest boy, he went and got the gun. And before I looked around, and he shot the old rooster.
Well, killed the little fella, huh?
Killed him.
Well, I understand, Mr. Bowerman, that when you ran into this lady, why, she kind of set her cap for you, and you fell for it, and you've been around her 64 years.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, you lived out much of your working life in Centralia. What made you want to come back to Marshall County?
Well, I was born and raised in Kentucky.
So you always felt good about your old home
And, I like Kentucky, but I like Kentucky better.
Mm-hmm.
We was born and raised, you just naturally like better, I did.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, never will forget, the night we was in the move, up here, wasn't it? They told that crowd, one night after up there, we was sitting there, I believe I was reading the paper, we was sitting there, and he come in singing, while I was just outside the door.
Mm-hmm.
You'll go up to the door of the house into a porch, closed porch. And then that porch door, there was 23 men there singing gospel songs.
Uh-huh.
And I think, what in the world does that mean? I just took the door and looked at that. I seen standing there, and I just walked on out to the door. And there was just a sing. Oh, they were singing too. And some of them was, one or two of them singing teachers back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they was singing just that song. They come and talking to me. Well, I thought we wanted to bid you goodbye. Which that's when we took to leave out here next time.
That was nice.
Last time. And I said, well, I appreciate it. And Christmas carols.
Mm-hmm.
They sung, I don't know how, and they were up a good while, and I tried to get them to come in and said, said we didn't have chair seats, well, they would have some have to stand up and just all stand up.
Yeah. When you were married, did you ever hear of a chivalry?
Oh, yes, sir.
Well, tell us what those things were like. Did they give you and your wife one?
What is it then? Huh?
A chivalry.
Yeah, every time when anyone is married right now, they still believe us, we married too. Oh, you just have bells and horns and just anything you can make a noise with. Everything make a noise. They could sure tear up the place, too. One time my uncle married, and they had a Chevrolet, and these folks were there. And the Chevrolet, my uncle and his wife. And they come through the house. They just lined up and come right through the rooms and just run all through the room, hollering and singing and stomping and rolling horns, and I never heard such a noise.
If they didn't ride you on a rail.
Yeah, they rode them on the rail, and they did him, we learned. But even down the pond was going to turn in. I think they're afraid to, for he'd put a stop to you, he'd throw some of them in.
Was it cold weather when you married?
December.
December, well.
December 23rd, just before Christmas.
Oh, you really had a Christmas present that year.
Sure did.
Well, it's just about time to wrap it up. I'll ask you if you have any special story you'd like to tell before we sign off.
What I think, asked him what his daddy raised. You'd be all everything he raised.
All right. Well, tell us what your father raised.
What do you raise? All the stuff, huh? All kind of stuff. Well, he just raised cattle and horses, sheep, raised cattle and sheep and ducks and geese and ducks and geese. I used to have to dinners and then the people used to have put them in the barn and put them in a stable, and she couldn't catch them, you know. And my job was to catch when she wanted a goose to pick, of course. I'd have to go catch that goose. That goose, you know, make the bed was good.
And you made the pillows and feather beds.
Yeah.
Out of them. So you grew that right on the farm.
We didn't make all of them. A lot of times we had all the feather beds and wanted to sell them. They was a good price.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. J.F. Bowerman, it's been a pleasure visiting with you. We thank you for talking with us.
Thank you very much.
And it's been a real joy to me, Ray Mofield, on the oral history, to come to 418 West 12th here in Benton and talk to both Mr. and Mrs. J.F. Bowerman. Thanks again, and we return you now to our studio.
Thank you.